Kara Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Brakatahawa, Brakatahawa Shai, Brakatahawa, Brakatahawa Shai, Brakatahawa, Brakatahawa Shai, the water, Abba, called Kadash. I'd like to give double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone that teaches truth, 100% truth, according to the Bible, true word of the Lord. Do a lesson today. Really haven't came up with a title, but it's just dealing with the current events and things that's going on in this world as of today, man. And there's a lot going on. It's just so much. But the wicked is definitely, he's on the loose, man. He doesn't even hide it anymore. He's to the point now where, he just does whatever, because he can't hide it. Because right now, because of the internet, everybody has cameras, everybody's able to post things, information is going out. And right now there's information the highway that this devil can't shut down. Now what he can do, he can get in there and try to disrupt the flow by throwing in a lot of false claims, information, put a lot of fake information out there to distract or to divert attention to what he's really trying to do. And so where can we start, One of the things when I was watching GMS Chicago, they were doing a feed, and they were going into how Moab, the Chinese, have gone over there and dropped food over there to the Palestinians. And they dropped the food off over there, and they basically told Amalek, said, buck if you want to, if you buck if you want to, we're going to pretty much wipe you off the map. I guess China, to flex their muscles. And right now, you have nations that are now showing their strength. A lot of these nations that come up, within the last 30 to 40 years. And I've seen a lot of it myself. I remember China about 20 years ago, man. China was almost like a third world country, And I remember the trade agreements. A lot of the companies went over there and got China on their feet. And now China's a powerhouse. I remember Russia about 20, 30 years ago. They was in turmoil. Now look at Russia. They all built up. The sanctions that have been put on them somehow has backfired and pretty much has strengthened them. And then y'all have all these other smaller nations, man. A lot of them have increased their military power. Times have changed where you have drones and all type of devices that have been created for modern warfare, man. And really the game has really changed, So a lot of these younger nations, or smaller nations, have come up. And so right now, everything is looking like everything is pointing towards a war, a major battle that's going to happen, and it's orchestrated by the Lord, man. He putting this whole thing into play, and it's just a lot of wickedness that Esau's been doing, man. You see the condition of our women. You see our women are Eve just stay taking L's, man. She's taking all type of losses out here. She's definitely being exposed right along with Esau, Edom. People starting to see this devil for who he is and Eve for who she is. Women of our nation have pretty much sold out to these devils, man. And one thing I say about GMS, they've been called this out a long time ago. Well, way before Kevin Samuelson and this manosphere type movement. GMS been on it, they've been pointing out the condition of our women and what they've become. So let me hit some precepts real quick. Going to Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And Esau, Edom, is the rulers of the earth right now, He's the one that makes the major decisions. He's the one that makes the power call. He's the one that shut down the whole globe, during time of pandemics and all these other things. Esau, Edom. And the ruling family is really Amalek at the top. But right now there's a shift that's going on, man. And these curses are falling off you Israelites, you so-called black Hispanics and Native Americans, the curses are beginning to fall on Esau Edom because he's coming at the end of his rule, you know. And so we're here to witness the fall of Esau Edom. We also here to bear witness to all the atrocities and the wicked and the debauchery that this devil has done on the planet Earth. Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 13. And Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh shall said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whether I will drive them. And so now, you know, we are the inhabitants, or we are the, what can you say? We are pretty much the, we're pretty much spoils of war to these devils, man. And I was reading also in this book, which is called Revealing America's Dark-Skinned Past, Volume 2. And it's a very good read, man. And I've done lessons out of this book before, but I want to go over part of that read, man, how these devils, Esau Edom, has ruled over us, and how he has done our people. Oh, this is how he was treating our people when he came over here. Let's go back to Cristobal Columbus, you know, that devil when he first came over here. While it was recorded that the destruction of the settlement was at the hand of some native inhabitants, because this, you know, when they came over there, they put them in hardcore slavery, man, so they can dig up the gold and, you know, make them servants for these Edomites. So while it is recorded that the destruction of the settlement was at the hand of some native inhabitants, what is not readily available is the evidence of the behavior of the Spaniards who left behind and led to destruction, whereas, hold on, that's not what I wanted. Okay, here it is. So initially, Columbus refused the humble demands of the chief, because the chief was asking him, say, man, hold on, you got a burden too hard on our people that they're not going to last. We can't keep up with the burden that you put on our people and demands of the chief. But he soon realized that the required amount of gold could not be found. As time passed on, it was found that personal service was the only form of tax that could readily be enforced. And according to more and more natives were driven into working the farms and mines of Spanish settlements. The native inhabitants were not content with the work being forced upon them, and many began to flee to the mountains and to avoid the deplorable existence. The native people even tried at an attempt to force their unwanted visitors out of the island. So they started, you know, burn up the crops, you know, try to maybe, you know, deter them from staying there, that maybe hopefully they will leave. That's only infuriated, you know, these Spaniards, man. Okay, the plan was angered the Spaniards, who were now advancing to the mountains from because the okay, this is what happened. Let me go back, Shalakia. And when they noticed how dependent the Spaniards were on their provisions they produced to destroy the crops left in the farms and waste, and, you know, the inhabitants of the island of Hispaniola, they retreated further inland into the mountains, where they could hide and survive on roots and herbs. And that's one thing our people always done when we, you know, they have these people that came and like into our homeland during the time of the Maccabees. You know, we always had to flee into the mountains, you know, and use the mountains as a form of protection, as a barrier. Same way over here in Babylon the Great, you know. A lot of people fled into the mountains, into places like the Dismal Swamp, places that was very hard to get into, gain access to, and therefore we were able to hold off these devils, man. So the plan also angered the Spaniards, who were now advanced into the mountains from town to town, pursue their fleeing workers. They accomplished this with unrelenting fury. Shalaki, man, if I keep, like right now, I got a damn ear infection, man. It's always something, man. It's always something. Can't wait till the new bodies. Villages were burned to ashes. The feeble were mercilessly massacred. Shrieking victims were slashed. You know, because Esau had that sword, man. That's his blessing. Were splashed down by the sabers of the Spanish and ripped open the bellies of pregnant women, took out the tiny infants and cut them to pieces. Children were taken by their feet and their heads were dashed against the rocks. Hands were half cut off and lay dangling by flaps of skin. Could you imagine, man? Could you imagine what that must have looked like? But that's natural for Esau Edom, man. He's a barbarian, man. He's a goddamn savage, man. He's a savage of the earth. Even the Lord to put this devil on us, man, he went above and beyond what he is supposed to do. Ferocious dogs pursued the helpless victims and devoured those that they caught. Because at that time they had what they bought over there, they bought those mastiffs. But you know what a mastiff like today, man, it's about a damn 150-pound dog, man. Others were hung and still others were buried. Others were hung and still others were burned alive. And nothing changed today, man. You know, this devil still do these same things to our people today. You know, over in slavery and after slavery, you know, they would take Jake, you know, hunt him down, hang him up in the middle of the town, and they had what they call like a bonfire, man. They'd burn Jake up for their amusement. Others were hung and still others were burned alive. But yet they want to come over and call the Native Americans or the northern tribes, you know, savages. The Spaniards wanted to display their dominance, inspire terror amongst the islanders, and frighten the entire island into submission. So they are the true terrorists of the planet. Yet they play victim and go around calling anybody that's defending themselves savage and terrorist, man. Try to make that make sense, though. But that's how this devil is, man. He's very crafty in how he write things up and how he do things and how he present himself to the world. The natives who did survive these vicious attacks only found themselves in more despair by being corralled on the 5 ships that they recently returned from Spain, and they were held captive on these ships until they were to depart back to Spain. So that goes to show you a lot of people were bought over there and distributed throughout other parts of the earth, man. So it was like that trade. They were trading and bringing them over to Spain and using them as slaves over there in Spain and other parts of the world. Because you have to realize also, you know, they inhabited the Philippines. So let's say, you know, they brought them slaves over there with them to Philippines and used them with the Filipino, which they conquered them and used them as slaves as well. But to get started, you know, they brought the slaves from Hispaniola over there, you know, as to break ground. So back to Spain, by the time the journey was ready to depart, 1,600 native inhabitants had been captured. 500 of the healthiest between the ages of 12 and 35 were selected to be carried to Spain to be sold there in the slave markets. The rest of the captives were distributed amongst the settlers. So that's the Northern Kingdom, man. You know, they were sold into slavery too. Not just only the Southern Kingdom, you so-called blacks. So let me go to the book of Psalms, chapter 137, verse 9. The book of Psalms, chapter 1 37 verse 9. It's like my voice sound like this, man. I got damn infection. The book of Psalms, 37 verse 9. Okay. O daughters of Babylon, how art to be destroyed? Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. So the same thing they done to us, man, they're gonna receive that same reward upon their own heads. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stone. So the same thing they done to us, man. We're going to get recompense, and we're going to do the same thing to them. You know, they're going to receive what they handed out. And what's that saying? A dish, revenge is a dish best served cold, man. And going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 50. The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 50. The Bible don't lie, man. The Bible don't lie. Book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 50. A nation of a fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. And who's that nation, man? That was Esau, Edom. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land, until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee neither corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or flocks, or the sheep, until he have destroyed thee. Same thing he did in 70 AD in our homeland with the southern kingdom, and also when he came and found our northern kingdom down here, over there in the Americas, in the New World. Another precept I want to hit also is Leviticus chapter 26, verse 22. The book of Leviticus chapter book of Leviticus chapter 26, verse 22. Okay, let's go back to 21. And if ye walk contrary unto me, that means against him, it will not hearken unto me, no, go against his laws, statutes, and commandments, I will bring 7 times more plagues upon you according to your sin. And that's our people. That's the northern and southern kingdom. You know, we turned our back on the Lord, man. That was Israel and Judah, the 2 sisters, man, that's spoken of in the Bible. And I will also send wild beasts among you, which shall rob you of your children and destroy your cattle and make you few numbers, and you and your highways shall be desolate. And if ye will not be reformed by me in these things, but will walk contrary to me, like against him, then will I also walk contrary unto you against us, and will punish you yet 7 times for your sins. 7 meaning completion. That means we're going to really catch hell, man. Some hardcore hell, and that's what happened. And I will bring a sword upon you that shall avenge and quarrel of my covenant, And when ye shall when ye are gathered together within your cities, I will send the pestilence among you, and ye shall be delivered into the hand of the enemy. And who's the enemy? Esau, Edom, the hammer of the earth, man. And he was blessed with that sword, what the Lord is talking about. You know, he was first gifted, that metal. You know, when he came down into the islands, man, they didn't have no metal, not like that. They didn't have no iron or steel. And so their weapons was inferior to Esau, Edom. Even though Jake, might have been physically superior, but he didn't have the war chest like Esau, Edom had at the time. And therefore, that's why they was able to go through and wipe Jake out. And then I only mention that, it talks about the pestilence. He brought over a lot of diseases, man, because these devils, man, how they live. You know how Esau, Edom is. They don't wash their hands. They don't take baths. Their hygiene is not up to par. And so they come over to the islanders, man. They're not used to those type of diseases, man. So their body wasn't set up for it. And so a lot of them died by many of the diseases that these devils brought over from their homeland. Verse 26, and when I have broken the staff of your bread, 10 women shall bake your bread in one oven, and they shall deliver your bread again by weight. And ye shall eat and not be satisfied. And if ye will not for all this hearken unto me, but walk contrary unto me, then I will walk contrary unto you also in fury, and I will chastise you 7 times for your sins. And that's right now to this day, we still catching hell because our people still reject the Lord, man. They still walk contrary to the Lord. They still stand up against the Lord and what he has promised us. They refuse, man. They refuse, and therefore they catching hell. And we ain't seen the end of it because we about to go into Jacob's trouble. And that's going to be a time like no other. Worse than the time of 70 AD. Worse than when they went over to Hispaniola and what they did on the island. You're going to see some real foul shit that's going to happen here in Babylon the Great. Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 13. And then the Lord Yahweh said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and 3. Because Jake have a hard time figuring out who this devil is, man. Who Esau Edom is, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there coming a falling away first, that the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And now it's being revealed who this devil is, man. Information is going out. The truth is coming out. And this man has a long track record, man, of being wicked, man, of being a thief, a whoremonger, a murderer, a liar, and all these things, man. Make up Esau Edom. So he's been revealed, and all the whole world is starting to figure out who the devil is, man. And wait till all hell break loose. Jake's gonna finally realize when that time of Jacob's trouble happened, because the Lord is going to take. He's going to take that collar off of Esau Edom, man. He's going to unleash this devil on you, Jakes, man, and all those inventions that he has, man. And you 2/3 niggas gonna really catch it, man. Jake gonna get his lick in too, though. But Esau Edom is really gonna be unleashed on you, Jakes, man. He's gonna take everything that he's got in his power to try to wipe you out. And only the elect is going to be saved out of it. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord Yahweh shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. And like I said, Lord will, we are the elect, that we get those spiritual powers, man. And we're going to be able to survive Jacob's trouble, man, and destroy these devils in the process. You see how wicked this place is becoming, man. How wicked this place is, And anything that the devil rules and control, it's just going to be nothing but debauchery up under his rulership. Look at the Puff Daddy trial, kind of peeping into that a little bit. and just see some of the wicked shit that they've been doing, man. You know, the people that they've killed and murdered, you know. And and a lot of our people, you know, they follow after this devil, man. Puff Daddy's another one, you know. Puff Daddy, all those damn entertainers, man, are really foul and wicked and filthy because they sold out. You know, they sold out to the side. You know, they look for their riches on this side. They don't want to wait on Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah. And therefore, they're going to be destroyed, man. They're going to get a harsh judgment up under Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah. But, yeah, and 2/3 of our women, man, them wicked ass women, majority of them are going to be destroyed, especially in Babylon the Great. Majority of our women in Babylon the Great are going to be destroyed, you know. And we look forward to the day, man, return of our Lord, man. Who wants to live in a place like this? You know, it's filthy, it's vile, man, it's vexing as hell. And we understand what Just Lot was going through, you know. You know, just all type of lewd behavior, man. Adultery, sodomy. And those things are the norm for the day, man. It's just like it's nothing. You know, people don't even blink an eye at it anymore. You know, raping and, you know, taking little kids and all type of wickedness this devil's been doing and been getting away with because right now he's in the power seat. And shit's become normal up under his watch, man. He don't hide that shit no more. He don't hide it at all. So we constantly call on the name of the Lord, man. We are witnesses to everything that's going on and what's happening to our people. And we calling out to the Lord, man. We pray constantly. So with that being said, Lord will, this is edifying. With that, say shalom.